Good morning, welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. Let's discuss whether or not adding red wigglers directly to your garden is a good or a bad idea. Okay guys, to get into this topic, there are a few things we need to discuss. Composting worms, also known as red wigglers, trout worms, tiger worms, and composters, are considered an epigeic worm. Now, what does epigeic mean? It literally means own the earth. That is the Greek definition of that word, on the earth. So when you're talking about composting worms or red wigglers, and I tell you that they're epigeic, what I mean is that they live on top of the soil, not in it. They're considered leaf-dwelling worms. So if you're gonna add red wigglers into your garden and your garden is not covered in several feet of mulch, your red wigglers are gonna be dead within a few days. They do not live in the soil. They do not eat soil. They do not aerate soil. Okay? Red wigglers are solely composting worms. They live, breed, and die all in the leaf litter on top of the soil. In fact, if you go into nature and you look for where red wigglers can be found, they're going to be found most likely underneath big oak trees or in the woods under several feet of leaf litter directly on top of the soil. You never have to put a shovel in the soil to look for these types of worms. So taking a pound of red wigglers, which can cost you anywhere from $50 to $75, out into your garden, digging a little trench into your soil, dumping these guys in and covering them back up is not going to end well for those worms, okay? Now, there is a way that you can put a worm form into your garden and breed red wiggler composting worms in a composting system directly in your garden. That's really cool. I've never done it, but I've seen the videos. Go check them out. Super cool way to add red wigglers directly to your garden, but keeping them contained in an environment they can actually survive in. Now, I think where the confusion comes in is people talk about worms and we group them all together. So, I just told you they're epigeic or composting, aka red wigglers, that type of worm. Then you have your earth worms, okay? And what most of you are thinking, that when you take a composting worm like a red wiggler out to your garden and you put it in the soil, it's just like an earthworm. It's not, guys. Earthworms get much larger. They can be several inches long, as thick as your pinky. They can go up to 8 feet into the soil. And they're great for aeration of your soil by making tunnels and burrows so that when it rains, the water now has a filtration system naturally built into the soil. Okay, so when God created earthworms, he knew exactly what he was doing. You can get these systems to work together simply by composting with red wigglers in a contained system, taking their worm castings out to your garden, side dressing your plants, and feeding your soil. Once you do that, the worm castings from the red wigglers are actually going to attract earthworms to that area through the soil on their own. So you don't ever need to add worms to your garden, okay? What you need to do is add life to your garden by adding things like worm castings, which is going to increase your microbiology, your fungi, your protozoas, all of that. It's going to increase it when you start adding living product like worm castings back to your soil, okay? Once you start doing that, earthworms are coming, guys, and they are really the ones that you want in your garden. That's what they were created for. Completely two different worms. So don't let people on YouTube, because I just saw a video from a guy and it said adding red wigglers to your garden. And I'm like, adding red wigglers to your garden? Like, okay, I've got 8 minutes. Let's check this video out. And I just could have fallen over because there he is in a raised bed with very fine looking mulch on top, no leaves, no hay, no straw, none of that. None of what a red wiggler would actually live in, breed in, or eat. Just a couple layers of compost in a raised bed. He digs a trench, dumps those guys in, covers them back up, and I'm thinking, ooh, okay. Well, that's probably not going to end well for the red wigglers. Something else. Red wigglers will freeze in the winter. And the reason you don't find them in a pile of leaves in the direct sun is because their environment must stay 60 to 70% moisture. Okay, they breathe through their skin. And they have to stay moist. So a pile of leaves in the sun is not going to have red wigglers in it. A pile of leaves in the woods will. And the difference is that the leaves in the woods will stay moist, the leaves in the sun will not. So if you put red wigglers directly in your garden, I'm going to tell you, I told you so. When they die, don't breed or continue to populate. It's just not going to happen. Wrong type of worm, wrong type of system. You have to work with nature on her terms. Red wigglers are epigeic. They are leaf-dwelling worms. Leaf litter dwelling worms. You guys have a blessed day. Hope this helps you. If you have any questions, please ask. Oh, tip of the day. Red wigglers will not eat your root systems, your seeds, or your living plants. No earthworm species will. They eat dead organic matter. Okay? So you guys have a blessed day. Thank you so much for watching Storekeep Farmstead. Please share this video so we can actually educate people on the proper types of worms they are looking for their gardens so they don't waste their money. Thank you for rowing in our boat and letting us row in yours. Have a blessed day, guys.